the County Government of Nairobi. Application by Garden Square and KICC for allocation of the land be considered by NLC as provided in the Land Act and Land Allocation of Public Land Regulation 2017. Garden Square to forthwith pay the rent to NLC for onward transmission to County Government of Nairobi until when the process of allocation of the property will be concluded. Subject to payment of rent by Garden Square and allocation of land, a permanent injunction was issued restraining the County Government of Nairobi and the Board of the City Council of Nairobi and the KICC from trespassing, ejecting or removing Garden Square from the suite property. Following the ruling, the KICC made a formal request to the National Land Commission for allocation of the land property on 8th July 2022, and the response is yet to be received. The corporation has previously requested to be allocated the land surrounding the KICC tower block. However, this too has never been successful. Further, in the year 2013, the Chief of Staff and Head of Public Service read a letter dated 16 December 2013, reference number OP/.9/1968, issued a cabinet directive to the Cabinet Secretary, Ministry of Lands, Housing and Urban Development, to urgently issue ownership documents to the corporation, which has never been acted upon to date. Thank you.
Honorable members, members of the executive, particularly board ministers, that is the query and the response. Honorable Mutua, have you finished consultation? Yes. So listen, that is the only query and response. Before I open, you have heard Minister for Lands. You have heard what they have said. So the first shot will be National Land Commission. You have been mentioned adversely in that response from KICC. What have you done?
I was hoping, Chair, you will ask me, because I had said we have a common position
with the Land Commission.
With the National Land Commission for today. Indeed, we have shared that common position with the CS Alfred Mutua. I agree with you, Chair, and the committee that this is a very weighty matter and it requires in-depth interrogation and preparation before we can make presentation before the Honorable Committee. Honorable Chair, the common position is that we are requesting for more time to be able to make 1948, and there is a long history, including a history of legal disputes, obviously between KANU, as has been stated, and KICC and the government. There are other disputes, as mentioned by the CEO, acting CEO, between Garden Square and KICC. There are some court documents. There is correspondence from various offices, including our offices. That's the Office of the President. And all this, and Honorable Chair, may I take first also apologize, because I think communication for the last attendance on 14th, I had put in a written communication that we were having cabinet. But the record I saw is like we deliberately avoided the committee. Honorable Chair, far from the truth on that, I want to put it on record that the reason that we were unable to attend Parliament was cabinet. And also it's good to say that cabinet has provided no excuse for not attending unless prior given. And therefore, Honorable Chair, we are here today and we have agreed. There are some correspondence that also have come to you from the National Land Commission. We want to consolidate, if allowed by this committee, to consolidate our position as much as possible. And we are guided, I can confirm, by the public interest, the larger public interest. And therefore, your question was relevant. We do not have, I can speak for myself and my peers, NLC is here, they can speak, but we have agreed to request for more time.
More time.
For more time, yes.
More time.
Including to look and see what are those cases and the judgments. But I want to confirm that insofar as the national government is concerned, in terms of this land, we will be speaking from one position in favor of KICC. I think it is how to go about it and the process that we have not agreed upon. Thank you.
I like that second last bit. But before that, Honorable Mutua, you have to, Honorable Madam Alice, you have to switch off your mic. Yes, Honorable Mutua.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, honorable members. Indeed, this is a very weighty matter, and I liked your introductory remarks about the importance of what we are doing today. Public interest is important, especially when it comes to matters of land in this country. And we all know that KICC, where we are sitting, was constructed many years ago. And it's very clear, even to a person from the village coming to Nairobi, like most of us have done, to actually see where KICC land is by just walking around and looking at the style of architecture and the construction that was done at the same time. So which acts as a beacon of where the land is, even without being told. When I look at these issues, there are very many questions that we need to answer. One question is, how come a cabinet decision related to the then Minister for Lands was not executed? We also want to understand how the court ruling came about, through the process, but also what baffles me sitting in this chair as the Minister for Tourism is where there was not an appeal to that ruling at that particular time. So
Yes, order. Honorable Kaina, what's the point of order?
The point of order is the CS Lands and Housing has made a position, and I believe these people are all coming and acting for the same government. She has requested for more time in order to consolidate the government position. CS Mutua attempts to explain and expound on the issues without saying that he either agrees or disagrees with the adjournment motion requested by the Honorable Bohome. So I think, and I want to go on record, CS Mutua, this is not a very, very casual, it has been there. And I know one time you had your office here. So what you should tell us at this stage is whether you agree with the motion put forward by your colleague. If you agree, there's no need for explanation. If you disagree, the committee will make a position on whether to listen to your version as an entry, which again will be wrong because it is going to take us back to where we were. As she has rightly put it, this issue has been on for years. It is time to make decision pursuant to the public interest. So yours will be a 1 minute or 1 second statement that you agree with her position or you are ready to pursue your ministry's view, which again the chair, the committee led by the chair actually will make an informed ruling.
Fair enough. Honorable Mutua, yes, I agree. Maybe you are building a point to agree or disagree.
Mr. Chairman, with indulgence, I was just laying the ground to show that we are not just agreeing for the sake of agreeing, that also from where we stand, it's a very important matter, and therefore well guided. And I have to say that there are very many issues that also from our end, as the Minister of Tourism, we need to tackle in consultation with the Attorney General and others. Therefore, I do agree and support the motion for adjournment so we can have more time to consolidate our position as a ministry, the position of lands as a ministry, and us together as a government so we can have one position on the way forward, Mr. Chairman.
Honorable members, a motion of adjournment has been presented by both ministers, but it is the right of this committee to agree or not agree, and mine is to communicate the feeling of the members. So, what's the feeling of the members, Honorable Captain Karauri?
Thank you, Chairman. Before we proceed, because remember this is a matter that has been pending for quite a while,
from last year,
and I think if you look at the history of this matter since 2000, before the 2000s. And what is guiding us now, where we've reached, is where we have the judgment. And this judgment laid the issue squarely in the hands of NLC. And remember, there's a letter, even in our last meeting, there was a letter from NLC, which was now communicating to county about allocation of this parcel of land. And then again, in the judgment, there's a permanent injunction, which is restraining KICC or the county from interfering with Garden Square Restaurant. So if we're talking about public interest, there is also a restriction in terms of time about how long we're going to take to resolve this matter. Because in the meantime, we have interested parties, in this case, Garden Square Restaurant, who are benefiting from our delays.
Or confusion.
And at the same time, that particular letter from NLC, we don't know whether there's a response from the county, because the more time we give, some allocation might happen. And remember, county are not in this meeting. So what happens on that other end, we might not be aware, Chairman. So even as we consider to give more time, we need to be very careful, because some things might happen that cannot be reversed unless they are taken back to the court. And remember, we are here because of a court judgment. And whenever it becomes a matter in a court of law, and we get another judgment, again, as a committee, we'll be restrained again, and we are told the matter is in court. So we need to be very careful as we proceed, whether we decide whether to give more time. We need to understand what is happening behind the scenes. There might be some things that might not be under our control, and then might end up being irreversible if we allow too much time. Thank you, Chair.
Absolutely. Honorable Katana.
Thank you, Chair. I'm tempted to agree with the Minister for Lands, but I have some reservation with the NLC. This matter has been there for too long. And today, we wanted the NLC to come out clearly, because you have asked if there was anybody who has personal interest in this matter. And none of them has said. We want the director of legal from the NLC to declare. Chair, I need
Yes.
here.
Yes.
We want the director of legal from NLC to declare his personal interest in this matter. He should tell us his relation with the person who has been mentioned in this, Kasuku. If he's conflicted, he should state it, and he should tell us why he has not declared interest in this matter. Because he is the legal director. This matter has been with the NLC for 2 years. Until recent, when this committee wrote to NLC, it's when they now wrote a letter to a county government of Nairobi, asking them that there are some interested people who are wanted to be allocated this land. And KICC is not in that list. We want to know why it was left out. And they have on several occasions applied for allocation of this land. So as we consider an adjournment, you gave a direction last time that NLC should not attempt to allocate this land before this matter is conclusively decided by this committee. So that order should stand, because we know this is Kenya. Tomorrow, if we go this way, you'll be told that this land has already been allocated and that matter shall have been passed by events. So that order which you gave, this land should not be alienated or allocated to anyone. And then I have another request, Chair. I would wish the Minister of Land to give us the original survey, because that one will also guide this committee on how Garden Square came in and how now they're supposed to apply for this land. So we want the director of NLC Legal to tell us his relation with Kasuku first before we move to Chair. Thank you.
Honorable Waziri Kiunjuri, and then I come to you, Honorable Kena.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Oh, sorry, yeah, sorry, Waziri. It's another Waziri in Parliament called Honorable Kiunjuri. Or I'll give direction, Madam. Yes, I'll give direction. Honorable Kiunjuri.
I have already warned again, you know, this minister is also a lawyer. I can be accused of impersonating. Therefore, please mention form as long as they are
All right, okay.
at the meeting. Mr. Chairman, we all agree that this is a weighty matter.
It is. It is.
We are also agreeing that it has taken
Too
a
long.
long time.
Too long.
Since 2013, and any government is in power, it's perpetual. Whichever other government comes in, unless they revoke the decision of the other government, it's supposed to be implemented. So the first thing that you'll be requesting, first I agree with you, you need time. But with the chairman, we must guide them also on what is expected of us
Yes.
from them, so that when you are coming back again, there is no side shows again. Chairman from beginning asked whether there is any conflict of interest.
Important.
And to answer this question, Karauri has mentioned it. I want to qualify what is requesting. Waziri, you must come here with a chronology of event. Let us understand when this title was first issued. Issued for what purpose? If there is any other title that has ever been issued, because this government land, if you are agreeing that there are 3 parcels, come here with 3 titles. Whom are they allocated to? If it is a parking, if it is a hotel, any other ground. So that you come here telling us whether it was allocated as one person, under whose name. Number 2, if there were 3 parcels, tell us there were 3 parcels allocated to you, whether it is for Orowarinko and Moi or who, the 3 parcels of land, if there are 3 of them. Then let us know what has changed from those files, because you have all the records. You are the custodian. Tell us in 1922 it was allocated. In 1944, Rod so and so took it over. In 1963, Kano government took it over. Kibaki government in 2008, that history, so that it is very clear, so that we know the actual position. In so doing, we shall even know who have been the predators, who has been issued in title in between, because as we stand here, many things happen in a land house. But you are the custodian, and any case, and to clarify this, Mr. Chairman, because there is already disputes that have been there, if there is any dispute in this country concerning land, the first person and the only custodian and agreeable party to testify in any court of law is the Minister of Land. And therefore,
Correct.
we should not have any excuse that there is a case going on where we don't have a solution. Because you are the custodian, you are supposed to tell the court that this land has either been grabbed or allocated the right way, and therefore we go to the next step. So that we actually know whether there is any other person who holds title that was given by the ministry. Then we have the new constitution we promulgated. In so doing, there is separation between county government land and national land, government land. Let us know whether this land falls under county government or it falls under national government. Number 3, we are all agreeing this is a national monument. National monument. Then again, who is the custodian of all the land in the country? Either it is with county government or national government. And here the question of public interest comes in. Public interest subsides anything else.
Everything. Yes.
Government, Waxiri, as you should be able to guide us because you are lawyer, there is something we call compulsory accusation. And therefore, as you come here, tell us, yes, this land had been taken by Mwagi Kyojore and company, or this land had been reverted to county government. And the solution we have, because it's a national monument, is to ensure that government do compulsory accusation and tell us the steps that are required, so that if it is the president to invoke his powers, it will go ahead and we do that. So that day there is nothing that you are leaving behind. You have agreed that we need a team. Yes. Let us know exactly who is leading this team. Who is the team leader? How long will this team take? So that we have dates, as we leave here, the expected time for this team to report back. Wasiris, both of you, you know that this land has been earmarked, both the KICC and the land, for privatization. You should also tell us, did any one of you mislead the president? Because for it to go through privatization, you must have done your background check and NRC. For it to enter into that list of privatization, you must have advised the president accordingly. Do you want to embarrass the president? Are you telling us that the president was announcing that there will be privatization of KICC without background check, without either of you advising the government that this land belongs to other people? What is the value of this land? Because those are the other questions, and I am digressing a bit. Already, as you speak, renovations that are going on there, worth the billions of shillings. Are you still agreeing that the value of all those renovations will be on the land that the KICC lies on? What is the value of it? Just building alone without the extra pieces of land. If you give out that land, where will you have the parking? What will KICC be? So there are so many of these questions that you must answer, because there cannot be KICC building without the land that was allocated from a beginning. Lastly, and that is a very important question, what I'm asking, did anybody mislead the president?
Good question.
Because if the answer is no, then you should come back here tomorrow and tell us the status.
Correct.
If you misread the president, then you need 2 weeks to go and give us an answer. However, we still give you time, all the time that you require, but I'm just jogging your mind so that these officers, fortunately I've been a minister also, and I know how officers misread Honorable Aris. Even UPS, you might be asking a file, and somebody, because he has interest, you look for that file, and you are the PS in that ministry forever. Conflict of interest. So that you pin those people, and you help you to pin them, so that you know the actual status of this land. My issues are that you have the mandate, 2 ministries, and lastly, if none of you, if KICC are not able to be the custodian of this building, let us also go ahead, be advised whether this building should be at the Ministry of Culture or at the Ministry of Tourism, now that we have even conflict of it being a national monument. So we should even be advised by the Minister for Land who should be the actual custodian of this building. I rest my case.
Fair enough, Honorable Yunjuri. You raised fundamental question to both ministers. Both ministers. Thank you, Honorable Yunjuri. Honorable Kenan.
Chairman, sorry, I have a meeting at midday, so I'll just, I
No
think
problem.
Honorable Kinjuri has basically summarized. First, Honorable Ohome has alluded to a bit of the history of this facility. I think what we expect, and I'm very familiar with this topic, is just one thing. We have now 5 entities: KICC and the mother ministry, Minister of Tourism. KICC is a legal entity governed by an act of parliament, and then we have the mother ministry, the Ministry of Lands, and fortunately or unfortunately we have an independent constitutional commission called the Land Commission, and we have the county government. This issue has been around, and we understand change of ownership, change of title, and so many other things. I think, Chairman, with your guidance, we just expect one thing from the government, one position. Honorable Wahome has asked for more time. First thing, you should guide us the time: 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
I'll do that.
And then next is we sit down as a committee and prepare all the pertinent questions pursuant to Article 125, because once we raise it, they are legally obligated actually to disclose. And I'm glad that the CS is an astute lawyer, is a former parliamentarian, she understands. You will understand this. So once we know what we want, and we know what we want, my take and my expectation is this, and this issue has been around: go and sit down as a government. We do not want to hear, this is the position of Minister of Tourism, this is the position of Minister of Land. You are all serving under one government, and both of you enjoy delegated authority from the appointed authority. Give us one position of the government. I'm glad that you're saying you and the Land Commission have already consulted. So if you want this thing, Chairman, just to come to an end and get the facts for the sake of the public interest. You remember what Mr. Kibaki did in 2002. The history is very rich, we all know. What we need right now is somebody to be bold enough, to be patriotic enough to make decisions. Final Church, you're a seasoned lawyer. You understand this, the bit of your history. I hope you have not acted for some of the individuals. The bit I'm trying to say is make a decision. Secondly, we have the Land Commission. In the past, there has been a bit, Chairman, you are aware that there has been a bit of jurisdictional conflict between, based on different interpretations between some of the vis-a-vis, we have had it, you know, we have with the JSC, we have the Parliament and this, I hope you will not, the Kenyans will not suffer because of any perceived or really jurisdictional conflict between Ministry of Lands and the Land Commission. Sit down with the Mother Ministry, sort it out, take a position.
Fair enough.
Two more.
Please.
Once we are through with this, Chairman, and we understand the government of Kenya's position, there is something else that Honorable Injury has also alluded to. Who recommended the privatization of this? It must be the Privatization Commission, which again is another legal entity under the Ministry of Finance, the Mother Ministry. I think once we are seized over this, that other bit, because for me where I sit, I am persuaded that whoever included this as part of the privatization misled the government. And I will say this 100 times, and I will repeat it. Misled the government, misled the president, and anybody else who went ahead and announced this. So our responsibility will be now to deal with that element called, that group called Privatization Commission, and familiarize ourselves with the facts. Chairman, once we do this, the county government is another, totally a different grouping. Once we have the government, the national government position, the Land Commission, and everybody else, if there are issues that touch on the county government, I think we'll have the latitude again to say, do we now invoke our standing orders and bring in the Senate and have a joint committee? Because we must follow also the procedure from the Senate and deal with that bit, or we invoke the same article and invite the county government. But my part in short is this. Mheshimiwa Ali, I always say I'm a believer without prejudice, my good friend, that politicians are all-round human beings by virtue of the things that we handle. Now that by the grace of God we are at the helm of this ministry, can you go on record as the person who sorted out this mess once and for all for the good of the people of Kenya? So that you also create a niche that courageously, I know you're very courageous, don't fear the cartels. They have been there and they will continue to be there. Mheshimiwa Mutua, this issue must come to an end. That's my prayer. And Chairman, with your permission,
Yes,
I have a meeting at midday out of town.
I do give you permission.
Then
Thank you. I do give you permission. Now, yeah, what about you? Then I will come to your side.
Sorry, Chairman. There's an issue that you have raised and nobody's attempting to answer. Is there somebody who is conflicted?
Order, Pogina.
That person.
No, order.
Bring it out.
Order, Pogina. It's already on my desk. That issue is already my desk. I want to allow, when you finish, I want to allow them. Then I follow whether they answered.
Thank you, Chairman.
I think if you had more time, you would have gotten the answers. But it's okay. What about you?
Chairman, thank you. I think that is heading to a good place. According to the CS, she has already, and both CS, they have already indicated they are willing to solve this issue once and for all. So they have requested for time. What we need to talk about is the time limit. How many days or weeks are we going to give them? Because as they have said, this thing has a lot of long history, which they need to get the facts right before they make any decision. And I am happy Madam CS alluded or said she is willing to solve this issue once and for all. I think let's not dwell on this thing so much. Let's just give them time, the time they need, and we solve this issue once and for all. And maybe, and I hope so, public interest will supersede anything else in this matter. Thank you very much.
Now, No, what the members order. Let them respond. What is it, Honorable Gujuri? Before they respond.
Now that this matter of privatization is coming up, we need your guidance on whether, now that there is a team already constituted, whether whoever is a team leader, how do we invite the privatization, the minister in charge, or whoever in charge, because they must be part of this meeting.
The question would be whether we need them. That's I think the
whether
first
we
thing.
need them, yeah.
And you people, honorable members, can make that. But they will forget. They will forget this thing. They're human beings. Now, response?
Chair, first and foremost, I want to agree with you, Chair, first, that the question of privatization is not part of what the auditor raised. And we are here to answer a specific question. And I understand that Parliament may want to go further and deeper into other issues which are relevant, but I would beg that that particular question be addressed to the relevant minister so that you can get the information that you require and the commitment from that specific minister, and that is Minister of National Treasury. Having said that, Chair, I want to take, I'm taking it that the questions that have been raised, my teams have recorded them, and that there are questions relating to public interest and the need to correct this position if there is a problem. But may I assure the committee that as we speak, the land where the KICC sits is secure, for example, and it's secure and it's in the name of the National Treasury. That is where the KICC itself sits. What I need to bring to this committee is the relevant deed plan or map to be able to demonstrate that, including the sizes. Number two, the remaining land, the land between Parliament Road, City Hallway, the Supreme Court, including all that area of the Garden Square, Comesa, Harambe House, that all that land is secure. For now, I want to confirm that it is secure. And if it is not, and I have not seen any record to suggest that it has been alienated, so I want to rest assured the members and the fears that have been aired. They are legit because there are all these disputes around. May I also say that from where I sit, I believe I will get the support of Parliament if there is need to deal with any unauthorized and toward allocation. We will be able to get the support of Parliament and the support of His Excellency the President. But as I'm saying, as of now, that is not an issue, it's not a problem. The problem that we are supposed to come and address is where is this land, how much is it, has it been taken, and where are the title documents. So when I come next time, I will have the historical background. I will also give you any challenge or barrier, if any, to prevent issuance of title, because obviously it's a case for allotment. It is allotment in respect of who will allot. Is it who will get, who is the owner of the public land? I think that's the question I'll be coming to answer. Who is the owner? Because it is agreed that it is public land. That's not a dispute. Who is the owner of the public land? And how can we provide the title? Without going into details, because I don't want to prejudice the discussions the entire team will have, by reason of the questions that you want answered, it speaks for itself that I will be the team leader because it is relating to land. Honorable CS will give me the support because the KICC is the user of, the corporation is the user of the space, including the building. And we will be speaking including the Garden Square. So therefore, NLC for now as an organization, if they are conflicted, that will be part of our report.
Okay.
Unless you want the legal counsel, and because he normally has no right to address, because the chair is here, I think it's only fair and neat if we allow the issues you have raised, including of any conflict, to be addressed when we come back, and I will tackle that.
Okay. Now let me guide Honorable Ambassador. Order. Let me recognize the coming of a leader of minority in the House. He's a member of this committee, and he's our leader. So Honorable Wandai, introduce yourself and.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. My name is Opio Wandai. Apart from being leader of minority, I'm also the MP for Ubunja constituency.
Coming from, what do you call that village? Sidindi. Now, members, let me guide like this. Order. Let me guide so that we make progress. We want to make progress. What is it, Honorable Kunjuri? What's the point of order? Switch off your mic, Honorable Waziri. Yes.
Point of order is that you are addressing him as the leader of minority when you very well know there is a hardship. It should be the actual title for the
I know, Honorable, on a lighter note, I know, Honorable Kunjuri had applied that you want to become now the leader of minority in the new dispensation. But anyway, Honorable Member, that's on a lighter note. Now let's come to business. Now, there are two ways which I will address this. Number one, Waziri, let's go now. Members ask specific issues, so let me drive you towards that direction. Number one is time. They seem to be agreeing that they might give you time. You know, mine is just to communicate mood. Members of this committee seems to be agreeing that they give you time. How long? 30 days. Not agreed. That's declined. It's declined.
It's too short?
Too long.
Honorable Chair, okay, you know, one, the reason is there will be documentation to be put together, and I leave the country on 5th up to 12th. And therefore, when I come, I will need a meeting and to check the progress. And then I have another trip to Mexico on 20th to 24th.
Now, Waziri, you know, you are giving us order. This is where you left, you know, you left Parliament. So Parliament has its own calendar. You went to another calendar. You will be guided by calendar of Parliament, and specifically this committee. How long, Madam CS, do you want to suggest? 1 month has been declined by the committee.
Considering the questions, let me appeal to members, considering the questions that you want answered and the consultation that is needed, I don't want members to call us here when we don't have full report. Honorable Chair, 30 days, and the fact that I'm traveling, and because, you know, I cannot speak what is not there. You want a good job to be done. This committee wants me to deliver on this job. The minimum would be at least 27 days, so that will also accommodate my diary and the parliamentary diary.
Madam CS and everybody, why are we here? We are here specifically for some issues. And therefore, Madam CS, you are falling into a different timetable, for real. For example, if you are to go to court, you not tell court, you know what, you know, I'm going to she sells or whatever that place. You know what, you know, like next month, next month, you know what, you know, I'll be traveling, you know, next month I'll be in my farm, like for example, if it's me, you know, next month I'll be taking care of my cows, which are in Turkana. You know, you cannot follow that kind of timetable. Number two, Madam CS, it's not a laughing matter. There is an assumption, Madam CS, in this country, that KICC land is gone. There is an assumption that we need to save the people of Kenya. We need to tell the people of Kenya the land is safe. You have said it. Maybe 2 cameras have captured you today. But that's verbal. The truth of the matter is the land is under risk. There's also an assumption, Madam CS, further, that there might be cartels across board within yourselves, in the ministries, in the departments, and that is why members ask conflict of interest declaration. With that in mind, Madam CS, this thing must be concluded like yesterday, so that everybody is safe. 1 month, Madam CS, is declined. You might want to revisit that again before the conclusion. Number two, conflict of interest.
Mr. Chairman, if I can with your permission,
Yes.
just to support my colleague, I think the honorable members have spoken strongly, and you have put it about the importance of us being able to conclude this.
Yes.
The honorable CS has put it very clearly that as where she sits right now, the land is safe, that nothing will happen between now and whatever, because she has to
And 1 month.
and 1 month. The land is safe in that, and so that sense of panic is not there. The questions that have been brought forth by honorable members, honorable member Fustare, honorable member,
No, I'm taking those
are very
questions.
strong. Therefore,
Yes, but I want to take those questions. You can answer them.
Even from, no, I'm not answering, I'm just saying the issues are very weighty. Listening to Honorable Kinjuri, listening to Honorable Captain, Honorable Katana, they are very weighty. And also our team will need to prepare a lot of documents to support our Ministry of Lands. And therefore, my team and I have to do a lot of legal work also, because we have a lot of unanswered questions that we need to answer. And therefore that...
So 1 month, you're trying to say 1 month.
1 month to me is not enough. I just think we need more
God.
time. But I think to go with the 1 month, I think we'll do 1 month.
Before we come to agreement of 1 month, conflict of interest, which was raised by Honorable Katana, what is the answer? No conflict of interest.
I said that for now we have to say. Let me first say, Honorable Chair, for we are here. I can confirm that no lease would be issued in respect of KICC without, and none has been issued. And it wouldn't be issued without my approval, because it's the CS who issues the leases or gives authority for leases to be issued. This specific, and I know there are people acting on my behalf, but in respect of this one, I confirm that none will be issued without my personal signature in terms of authority.
So in other words, Madam Chair, you are demonstrating
yes.
that it's safe.
So we are safe.
Now,
and if any is issued,
order.
I will cancel it.
So that we make progress, let us address these questions one by one. Time is being considered or being debated, and you are being supported by Mheshimiwa Mutua. Conflict of interest, any answer? Or you come and respond later?
We will respond.
When you come back.
For now, we don't see any.
I will say, but somebody wants to talk. Yes, Chair NLC?
Yes, thank you, Chair. I just wanted to weigh in on the issue of, of time and the status quo. But let me start, because I've not addressed you before. Let me start by, first of all, conveying my apology for not being present at the first sitting. I know it was conveyed by my commissioner. I was unwell, but I thought I should convey it on record myself today that I didn't come because I was unwell. And secondly, I'm in agreement with the Honorable CSS about time. And it's in the context of the discussion we are having. Much as we are an independent institution, an independent commission, we've actually been having an engagement with the national government ministries, and I think the period that the CS asked for is reasonable, but more importantly, to assure that no action is being taken or will be taken with regard to allocation of this land, pending what we are discussing here. I think it's important to say that it's safe. Of course, the KCC building itself, where it stands, without a doubt, is titled and is safe. It is the commercial grounds outside that have been unallocated for decades, and they remain that way, and we do not intend to take any step in the next 1 month or so, because in any event, we have to be moved by a government to do it, but we can assure that the status quo would be maintained, whatever period.
Fair enough for that. But conflict of interest, Minister, you have said you will come to answer that question when you come back. I will decline. Because if there are conflicts of interest, it will affect the work we are going to do. If committee agrees with you of 1 month, those people that are suspected, and particularly the officer called by Honorable Katana, an officer called Brian, has been mentioned adversely, whether they have a business or kinship relationship with the Garden Square, either business or kinship, he's been mentioned adversely. Being director of legal in NLC, that is an office that cannot be assumed that we should not address now, even if the committee agrees with you for 1 month or less. The work that you're going to do, Madam CS, I used to be in government as a CEO before I became an MP. In 2013, when I came with you on the board, so we were elected the same day, 2013. Before we were elected, I was a CEO. What does that mean? It means governments, you know, don't do things. I didn't do anything as a CEO. I mark to a department, and that section of department then does something for me, and I become a conveyor belt, apart from correction and maybe logic, just to sign. That is why the committee cannot allow that, Madam CS, not to be addressed. And in that respect, we will ask the office of clerk to write to DCI to investigate that officer, the relationship between that officer and Garden Square, the proprietors of Garden Square. That officer, that information must be available before the committee. In the meantime, that officer should excuse himself from being a head of that department. If we will agree with you for even a day or two, he must step aside so that the report you are going to bring us, Madam CS, will have credibility for that matter. That officer has been mentioned adversely, and therefore that is the advice of the committee. Number 3, Madam CS, the issue of original survey of this KICC. Do you have it? It was asked. You didn't answer.
You know, we said, Chair, I don't want to...
You'll bring it later.
Because there are rulings that you could make, Honorable Chair, and also maybe our work becomes difficult. I have said, on the case of conflict of interest, because I'm the one who is going to take charge, I see none. Because I'm going to deliver on this job, I see none that will prevent me, other than removal from this office. Secondly, the deed plans, the survey maps, I'll be guided by the Director of Survey as to what document I need to capture, because they will do the work. Thirdly, there will be the issue of the applications, because a CS cannot go and title immediately, but there are processes that we shall undertake once we agree with the Commission what processes to be put in place. And I said we are in agreement that this is public land. What we are not in agreement for now, and having said that, that is public land, so the issue of Garden Square or a personal interest or a relative does not and will not bar me. So I speak on authority in terms of the work that I will do with my office. NLC is party to this because they are the ones who would issue allotment. And they are here confirming, as of today, this land is safe. I think that is what Parliament would be interested in, Honorable Chair, and therefore I would also imagine that I would not stop the Director of DCI from investigating if there is a need from Parliament's view. And therefore, that is not a matter that would stop our work being carried on. Yeah.
Honorable Chair. With your kind permission,
yes.
With tremendous respect to the committee, I wanted to request, I have heard the directions given with regard to my officer. I was going to request that at least you allow the commission to take whatever administrative action, because we need to also look at what he's handling over and above this matter, being the overall head of that directorate, so that rather than have him, must suggest a step aside as directed, we have a bit of time to look at it administratively.
Honorable Karaudi.
Thank you, Chair. Finally, now, even on the issue of time, and Madam Waziri, with all due respect, in terms of, because you are assuring us that the land is secure. My fear is, you know how these cartels operate with the 3 levels of government. In fact, where we are now is because of a court judgment, which declared that the land belongs to county and NLC to act under direction from the county government of Nairobi. So in as much as the people in this room, our intentions are clean, and we want this land to belong to KICC, the more time we give it, the more we lose control of the situation. This thing might be taken back to the judiciary tomorrow. And remember, these Garden Square people who are tenants are also applying for this same parcel of land. And that is the reason we are here today, because that matter went to court. Garden Square said they are claiming ownership of that particular parcel from being tenants. Remember, again, there's an order barring anybody from going into that piece of land until this land is allocated. So in as much as we have the good intention of saying we are acting in the public interest and we know this land belongs to KICC, we might end up in a situation whereby we are back in court and we have lost control of the situation. And again, if it's a matter of collecting the records, remember, Chairman, we are here because as we investigated this matter as an audit query, this documentation has already been presented before the committee. And by the time, Waziri, you're here, and your counterpart from tourism, it is because we have already looked at all these documents. And as a committee, we are already at the conclusion that this land belongs to KICC. So where we need to go is action from the Ministry of Lands and NLC, whereby we see that this land has already been allocated to KICC. In terms of investigating again, Chairman, I feel we are restarting the whole process. And if we restart this whole process, by the time we meet again, even if it's after a month, we will again take 6 months as we start looking at the same documents we've looked at again. So, Chairman, for me, I feel there is a letter that left NLC, and we're all aware. It was presented before the committee last time we were here. And it was to county, to say county should allocate, or rather, suggest to NLC who to allocate the land to. If we sit here again and wait, those processes will be overtaken by events, because if it goes to judiciary, remember the housing levy was stopped by the courts. And once it's stopped, it has been stopped. You've seen already there is an interpretation from the Attorney General that money should be refunded. So there are some things, once they're out of our hands, there's nothing we can do. So, Chairman, I beg, as we move forward, even if it's a month or not, we need to ensure that we protect, nothing happens between now and whatever time we meet next, Chairman.
What is it, Honorable Kenyere?
Mr. Chairman, you know, sometimes we really waste a lot of time. The other day I was given an example where the previous Minister for Land goes for benchmarking in Israel, comes back, report is written, then the predecessor comes, goes back to Israel, comes with the same report again, and the report filed up there, nobody concludes them. Mr. Allow me to engage directly, the Chairman. When did you start interacting with this case? The first time you started interacting?
With this matter?
This matter.
There were communications going back to 2021.
2021.
Yes, but then there was a court case and an injunction.
Yes.
That.
You see, because either you are incompetent or you have personal interest. When did this committee issue summons to you on this matter?
It was in November.
November.
Yes.
So you had the whole of November, December, January, February, and you did not take any interest or bother
Nothing.
to address this question.
Nothing. Madam CS,
I'm asking you.
listen. Nothing.
I'm asking you now.
Proceed, Honorable Kenyere.
Answer that. You assist to this information for 4 months. You did nothing.
No, the position is, the court decision is that we comply with the Land Act. The Land Act requires that we are removed by either national government or county government. We cannot allocate on our own motion. And that is the law
I'm not
passed by
asking
this
about
parliament.
the law or whatever is happening.
It's because we work within the law, Honorable.
My friend, I'm asking, when you plan to go to...
You should, everybody...
Yeah, you are not answering on record.
Order, Honorable Kenyere. Madam CS, even before we give you even 1 minute or 2 days, have you seen what the problem is? You will not agree Government will not agree on this unless Parliament takes direction.
I think, Chair.
Order, Waziri.
Honorable
I'll give you
Chair,
order. I'm just order, Waziri.
I think that that is a conclusion that.
No, it's a suggestion. It's not a conclusion, Madam Chair. Okay, it's a suggestion.
Yes.
Okay, you might dispute the
It's
suggestion.
a-
Order.
It's
Order.
a fear.
Yeah, you might dispute, Waziri, but you are already seeing a debate that yes, a National Land Commission is trying to defend their direction, and you know the direction which we are sitting and which we need to make a determination, Madam Chair, before we allow you anything. There is a communication. Where is that letter? Madam Chair, let me tell you, I am believing that, Madam Chair, you might need, Madam Chair, to have more time to look at this issue. As we talk, Madam Chair, look, as we talk, some processes are going on. National Land Commission, Madam Chair, has written 2 communications. One, that City Council should decide who should be given the land. That is one. When we met here last time, they went and changed the letter. Wrote another one, which is even more controversial. And for the media and the people of Kenya, let me read Madam Chair for you. And that is why, honorable members, we must make a determination. Processes are going on. Started by National Land Commission, which is sitting with us here. They are themselves who started. Look, the communication is the open space between the Supreme Court of Kenya and Parliament Road, commonly known as Comesa grounds, that is by Land Commission. Communicating to who? County Executive Committee member, Build, Environment and Urban Planning of Nairobi. The open space between Supreme Court of Kenya and Parliament Road, commonly known as Comesa grounds, which has been utilized by KICC as a parking area, need to be replanned and resurveyed and separated, more important and underlined, and separated from Garden Square Limited. To that, NLC can allocate Comesa grounds to KICC and Garden Square to Garden Square Limited. The decision has already made. It's done. We're wasting our time. Finally, once the land is Madam CS, you might not be aware of this. Once the land is replanned and resurveyed, then KICC are supposed to write a formal request to the Chairman, National Land Commission, for allocation, reservation, and resultant parcel to entities. Decision made. Honorable Gunjuri, proceed. It was your motion.
I'm trying to help you, Minister, because, you know, officers will give you information as long as they want you to hear, and they will measure the truth. I just wanted you to be aware that we are not pursuing this matter that is coming up for the last 2 weeks. They have been having this matter, they are ceased to this matter. Did you hear him, what he said? You said every title is safe, but he said, him on record here, that on this land about the parking area, they have not yet decided on ownership, on record. So, Madam Minister, I agree with you. For me, I support her 1 month. Because again, there is no use of us rushing them. This case has been there years. If they're asking for 30 days, it's only good to know where you're working, where the land mines are. You already know that your officer, whom you're asking to excuse, to step aside, that this officer, we are asking to step aside for 30 days, and you are saying you are going to look at that, whether it is possible. I'm asking you few simple questions. If he fell sick today, and he's admitted for 1 month, are we going to wait for 1 month so that we can get the report? If he happens to travel on a holiday, even he goes for leave. If he goes for leave, is there any other officer who can work on that capacity? So that if you're not conflicted, then it should be very clear that we have put our request and you bear the consequences if there is any conflict of interest, and you allow this officer to participate in the whole exercise.
I think he will answer. But let me say, on my part, I'm aware, Chair, of that communication. And we both have committed here that we have started discussions on this matter. It is not a matter that the chair can wake up. I think the process needs to be understood for allotment or allocation. There has to be an application. In this case, an application to the National Land Commission.